Hey. Oh my gosh, look at me. Yeah, so this is what happens when it gets dark and cold out. Okay? So, hello. As promised, I am here to do a TikTok live. But I know it's only 7 o'clock. Now, 7 o'clock may be early to you folks, but I've been up. And it's so cold and dark out that as soon as it turns dark, I just want to snuggle. So I put on this snuggie because I was feeling a little bit chilly, and then I said, you know what? It's just us, right? Get comfy, get snuggy, and good evening. Good evening. I am Beth. I am a Destination Decluttered. I think I see Laura. Nice to see you. Good evening, everybody. I am a decluttering life coach. And my coaching is called Destination Decluttered because I love to travel. And I'm just going to share with you, it just takes the drama out of decluttering when you think of it and your life like a road trip. If you want to know more about that, ask me. But I am here tonight with you, for you, at you, by you, blue by you, for the next hour or so to help you take control. Take back control of the stuff that you think is overwhelming you. Calm down that overwhelm, overcome the overwhelm, quiet it down, and let's help you just remove the clutter that's in the way of you living the life you want to live. So what I like to do is, if you haven't met me, I see a couple of friendly faces and names. This is kind of like I like to call this, when I do TikTok lives earlier in the day, like the romper room version of the show, where it's like, hey, Katie, nice to see you. Bonnie, good morning, good evening, Amelia. Kelly is here, and Ruby is here, and Naeem is here, and Florence, and the Senior Beat, and Cindy, and Lisa, and Rita, and Jessica, and Sharon. We're all here. I'm here for you. I grew up in a cluttered home. I struggled with clutter, I would say, most, if not all, of my life, until the last 5 or 10 years or so, until I realized that when I was getting kind of life coachy help, I realized that you could apply that to your clutter and vice versa. So I'm here to help you with that. So if you are struggling with clutter, if you are stuck, if you're not moving in the direction that you want to go to, throw a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you're struggling with, what seems to be just literally and metaphorically getting in the way of you living in a home that looks and feels and functions like you want it to. And I want to offer to you, thank you. Yes, I do feel nice and cozy. Okay. I do feel nice and cozy because I'm going to tell you guys, the more I coach, the more I know. It's not about, it's, who was it? Oh my gosh. So I'm totally riffing. I'm a Gen Xer. So this was with a soup con of ADHD. And I will say that it's like, you look marvelous. Remember Billy Crystal doing that? It's like, not how you feel, it's how you look. No, it's the opposite. If you feel comfortable, you're going to be more comfortable. So I thought, you know what? It's just us, you guys. I know I'm on TikTok and it's like the internet, but it's just our cozy little group. Okay, so get cozy. Put down the phone. Get yourself more comfortable. Unhook your bra if that will help you get comfortable. Do some neck rolls. When your body feels better, when you feel better, you are going to do better. Okay, so let me help you with this. So Baylor Girl 2 is hoping something will stick. Hopefully something will stick. So I love to talk about clutter and help folks with stuff. And the way I like to do it is to take the drama out of it, to make it simple and easy to understand. I don't like to use highfalutin words. I could, but to me, when I was searching for help with the stuff I was struggling with, the thing that got in my way was when I would be listening to somebody or reading something, and frankly, they would use a word, and I would have to pause and identify it, define it in my head. What do they mean? Oh, they mean this. And that just got me out of picking it up immediately. Okay, so that's why I'm going to use I use pop culture references because it cracks me up, and that's how my brain works. And I also use the kind of road trip and travel analogies. Okay, so hopefully something will stick in. How about this? How about I'm going to something here, just even say something tonight in the next 55 minutes is going to stick with me. Okay? Okay, if you show a picture of your room, it's overwhelming. There we go. That's the number one word that comes up on every single TikTok live, so I'm so glad you mentioned it. So we can start there, you and everybody else. And I mean this in the best of ways. I know for a stone cold fact how much that word overwhelm, that word over and then whelm, makes people feel like stuck and they can't get started. It is making you feel overwhelmed. And when you feel overwhelmed, you're not going to do anything because it seems like too much, right? Here is something that I hope sticks with you. Baylor Girl, everybody else, take notes. This is what I offer in my paid one-on-one coaching, but I also say grab a pen, grab a workbook, grab something and write this down. Think of what I like to call all the downs, because I realize the more I talk about it, overwhelm has the word over in it, and the opposite of over is down. So remember that. Over, no, you don't want to be overwhelmed. You want to think of the word down. When you think of the word down, I want you to breathe down. Breathe down into the bottom of your lungs. I want you to think of slowing down, just slowing down. I want you to think of settling down, just kind of, almost like if there was like, dirt in a, maybe not dirt, tang, okay, was all swirling around in a thing, and instead you just let it settle, and all of a sudden you've got this lovely, this lovely orange sludge on the bottom. Calm down, slow down, breathe down. Even moving your hands down like this is going to feel better. When you feel better, when you breathe down into your lungs, that allows more oxygen to go to your cells. When your oxygen goes more to your cells, you're able to make a better decision about stuff. The next down is going to be write it down. Write down the stuff that's in your head about what you want your home to look and feel and function like. That's your destination. Start with that. And then when you write it down, then we chunk it down, and then we put it on your breeze blocking and we get it done. Okay? So notice that. Okay? Catherine, thank you so much. This isn't even a jacket. This is like this giganto, like fuzzy, snuggy thing I got when friends during COVID were having bonfires and we wanted to be together, but we had to be separate. And I found it in my closet. I kind of forgot I had it, so it seemed like the day for that. Okay. Miracles and Money just asked, did I just go live? Yes, I did. Well, technically 7 minutes ago. And yeah, if you're interested in knowing when I go live, let me just help you with that. I like to help you out. 2 ways you can do it, wicked easy. Excuse me. One is to get on the Destination Decluttered email mailing list. Sorry, I'm burping up dinner. Destination Decluttered email mailing list at destinationdecluttered.com/join. Because the people on the mailing list got an email that said, here's where I'm going to be doing TikTok lives for literally the next 2 weeks. Now, this came out last week, so I've already done a few of them. But the other thing, too, is maybe you don't feel like being on my mailing list. Cool. You do you. Trust me, I do not coerce. I do not cajole, all those things. That's annoying. I want you to do something because you want to do it, not because you got, coerced. So I say, if you don't want to get on the email mailing list, cool. The other way you can find out when I go live is follow my page. You will be notified when I go live if you happen to be on TikTok. But the other thing too is, how about this? 3 is a magic number, is I do a video telling you the schedule of when I do TikTok lives, and I post it to the top of the videos on the top of my TikTok live page. So if you go there, you may see it. It's probably called something very evocative, like TikTok live schedule from whenever date to like December 8th, I think. Okay, so that's how you find out when I go live. And I like to pop up different times a day because different people see me and people are in different time zones. I will say this though, to be honest with you, because it's just all of us, in this nice little group. I am much more of a morning person than an early bird. Than a night owl. I joke, I'm the early bird. My husband's the night owl. So if I look a little bit tired, if I'm already in my pajamas, if I stumble on my words, it's because I've had a long day. But I endeavor to bring the best of me to you for the next 50 minutes or so to help you out. Okay? All right. 2 years going to move. What do I keep and what do I get rid of? User 6195 bloody blop. Wicked easy. Keep what you love, get rid of what you don't. That's it. My work is done here. So easy. I know. Isn't it? Nobody ever told you that before, right? it may sound like I'm kind of half joking, because I say half because that is really what it's all about, is figuring out the stuff that lights you up and the stuff that kind of slows your roll. More of what you love. Keep the stuff you actually love. Notice the stuff you love. Gravitate towards that first. You already do it. You're always picking out your favorite clothes, your favorite pen, your favorite, coffee cup. You always go for the things that you are your favorites. So notice the things you grab towards. That's the stuff you bring. It's probably the stuff that when you go packing is going to be the last to go in a box because you use it so often. But notice before you pack, way before you pack, even right now, what's the stuff that you don't use? The stuff that you're like, yeah, well, I could wear that, but I'm not going to. I could use that mug, but I've got plenty. Notice that, okay? And just start with that. Here's a fun way of thinking of this, okay? Another thing, I like to make things fun. So I use rhyming, I use alliteration. Here's one that comes from that kind of road trip, driving camp, okay? So for the next 49 minutes, you are, well, first of all, never mind, just for the next 45 minutes, I am your co-pilot on a road trip. But all the time, you are the driver in the driver's seat of your life. And I say this because when you are the driver, I want you to think about when you go and you're driving on the road and you see a traffic signal. There are 3 colors in a traffic signal: green, yellow, red. Right? Everybody, at least here in the US. I want you to think of the green light as a color in your heart for the things you love, the things you're drawn towards. Your favorite mug, your favorite pair of pajamas, your favorite cozy sneakers, whatever. Then I want you to think of the stuff you really don't like. Oh, those are those pants that every time I put them on, they give me a wedge. I get uncomfortable with them. That's red. Stop. I don't want those. And then you've got yellow. Yellow is the stuff you're probably struggling with. It's kind of like when you're driving, you go, when green light means go and red light means stop. And yellow is a little bit like, well, I don't know, I kind of maybe, blah. You're hemming and hawing. You're either speeding up so you can get through before it's red, or you slow down to make sure you get the red. Think of that and think of your stuff. What color is it in your heart, in your nervous system? Okay? Here's a funny thing. You're gonna have to excuse me. Remember I said I was cold and tired and stuff like that? All of a sudden I'm getting hot. I'm gonna open the door here, okay? The joys of being a Gen Xer, if you know what I mean, okay? So just notice that. Cheer down. I love it. Okay. All right, what else do we have here? Irish Pinks, thanks for stopping in to say hey. Here we go. Yep, feels good to cross things off your list. Trust me, I love that. And the more stuff you do, the more you get to cross off. Here's how I milk my to-do lists for the most dopamine possible. And if you are, I almost said a Gen Xer, if you have ADHD, you know that sometimes we struggle with, automatically having dopamine in our lives. So let's make it work. You have an idea, you write it down, something you need to do. And then you say, yay, check me out. I got it out of my head onto paper. I write it down. Yes. Then I do the thing. Yes, another dopamine hit the feeder bar. Then I cross the thing off the list. Yes, another hit. And then the fourth one is then I put it in my book of good stuff I have done. Look at all the good stuff I have done, people. I write that down to encourage myself to do more of it. And it makes it easier, and it's a good habit to get into. Okay? Green-eyed woman is saying, I'm still decluttering. So am I. It is not a one and done thing. We all wish it were, right? It's like, why can't I just be there? Nah, it doesn't work that way. But the cool thing is, enjoy the journey. Enjoy the process. Kind of, like a road trip. The road trip only has a destination to give you something to aim for. But it's really, you're supposed to enjoy the ride. Enjoy the drive, actually, because you're the one behind the wheel. So you get to pick a pace that works for you. You get to determine how much you declutter every day. Or if you declutter every day, maybe you declutter every other day. I will say the more you declutter, the quicker you just get to live in a house that is decluttered. And then you don't even have to declutter anymore because you've also changed your habits. Okay? So notice that. All right. Rach says, sometimes we just need someone like you to point out the obvious and empower us to move forward. Yeah. And here's the deal. I got the power. You have the power in you already. I think my job here is to just remind you of that. So it's like I'm going to try to, like the car reference, you have an engine, you have a key. I like to think that I am the one that reminds you can put the key in the ignition and ignite a spark in you to get your engine started. You have the power in you. You just forget it. We've just forgotten that we can do something about that. What a cool feeling to say, I can do something to change the things that ain't working in my life. Okay? I love it. Irish Pink pitched the kettle you intend to replace. Very cool. Every little bit helps. Oh, hey, Deborah Smith is saying, and the reason I will say this, the reason I am reading the questions, you may see them as they go by you. Frankly, sometimes a lot of them go by me and I miss them. So if I don't answer your question or interact with your comment, it is not personal. It's just that there tends to be quite a few of them. But the reason that I read them back to you is because what I do is I upload the recordings of these TikTok lives to Destination Decluttered on YouTube. And I do that because I've been told by you guys that it is helpful for you to have those to refer to. Let's say, you just kind of scrolled by me today and you thought, oh man, that sounds really cool, but I'm going to go, watch Happy Days or something, or I'm going to go do yoga or whatever it is. Know that there is a plethora, a collection of recorded TikTok lives. Think of them as like podcasts. Podcasts. Did you hear me? God, my Boston accent. And you can listen to them all the time. You listen to those when it's convenient to you as a body doubling mechanism, ADHDers, for when you want to declutter, but maybe you're not in the mood. Maybe this will encourage you. So I say these things so that when you're listening to the TikTok Lives recording, that you'll know what I'm saying, because this text does not pull out. Okay? So Deborah Smith, I want to give you a high 5, maybe a high 10. I finished my declutter projects thanks to you. Oh, no, thanks to you. I didn't come in and do it. You took 6 months, but I did it. It was scary. But you know what? It was scary, but now you're on the other side of the scary and you're alive and you're thriving and you didn't die and your place probably looks and feels pretty awesome. So you did the scary stuff. Everybody, it isn't me. I am just the conduit. I am the person that just connects the dots and reminds you that you have the power in your head, your heart, and your hands to move stuff out of the way that doesn't do it for you anymore. So yay, Deborah. That is awesome. I love it that German Made 95 says saved some projects for my life, because many people do. They will put me on like a speakerphone, or I don't even know how the kids these days, listen to their stuff. But puts it on a place where you can hear me and declutters while I'm on. Do that. How about that? For the next 40 minutes, maybe 38, I don't know, maybe I'll stick around a few minutes longer, we'll see. The next 40 minutes, 2 20-minute, sections. Use the time that I'm on to be a keeper of time and say for the entirety that she is on TikTok Live, because I'm going to sign off probably around 8 o'clock Eastern. I'm on the East Coast of the US. I will putter around my house and declutter surfaces. I will put stuff away. I'll put the dishes away. I will fold some laundry. I will wash some dishes with my hands. I will, open some mail and put some recycle in the recycle bin. There's stuff you can do right now. Don't just be a passive audience to things. Unless you want to be a passive audience, then be a passive audience, But if you feel like you could do something right now, and get up and do it. Get up and boogie. Get up and boogie, do-do-do-loo. Okay, notice that. What do we got here? Boopity-boop. Somebody liked my penmanship. Thank you. It is wicked messy. I'm left-handed, and I was scolded for years about my cursive. They don't even teach it anymore. Mrs. Glore, third years. You have to decide what angle you want your letters to be. I've made it work. Funny thing is, and maybe you feel this too when you write things down now, because we so infrequently write things to people with our handwriting, my handwriting has gone down the tubes. I write notes to myself, and I, for the most part, know what they mean, but sometimes it's difficult. So, okay, miracles in money. Notice this. I am not enjoying the process. However, I am determined to improve. Hun, figure out a way. Let's figure out a way you can enjoy the process. I don't show up to taskmaster you into do something, determined, I'm gonna do it. Get curious why you're not enjoying it. I mean, it doesn't have to be like, oh my God, this is so awesome, but it doesn't have to be horrible. It's probably not enjoyable because you might have a running commentary of what I like to call it, your backseat drivers, talking nasty to yourself. And what I say is, shh, quiet them down. Quiet down those voices in the back seat. Put on the radio, quiet them down, and have some fun. Okay? I do not teach it. I do not coach. I don't know. Like, I don't even know how to say this. Like, not fun. I want to make it fun. If it isn't fun, I am not going to do it. Why would I show up and yell at people? You know, for decades, I have managed teams and I have led people. That's so kind of weird. I don't even like that. But I like to make it fun and human and accessible. We got to be together anyway. Why not enjoy the time you have together? Okay. Now, Lydia is asking, by decluttering, do you mean getting rid of things or organizing them? Yes. First, yes, is not just getting rid of things is, yeah, that's the decluttering, is deciding, this is, I often will say this, what is this thing? Do I want it? If I want it, where does it go? And if I don't want it, where does it go? I just noticed, this is why I got distracted. I got some, what do you call it? Sharpie on this cute little mug I got that says all who wander are not lost. But check this out. I got it in Ireland, and so the little thing points to, I got distracted. See, ADHD, but I'm going to get myself back on it. But yes, decluttering is, at the core of it, deciding what you want in your life and deciding what you don't want in your life and taking the action to keep more of what you want and remove what you don't. Once you get the stuff you want, then of course it's going to be about organizing. When I say decluttering and destination decluttered, your destination decluttered should have the following 3 ingredients. That it looks the way you want it to look, that you feel the way you want to feel in that environment, and that environment functions the way you want it to function. And the functionality is the organization, is where's this thing, where do I find it, how do I use it, and when I'm done with it, where do I put it away? Okay? Okay. Notice that. Yes, my highlighters, yes. Your teaching is great, too exhausted from work to enjoy the experience, miracles and money. I'm kind of tired too. But don't worry. There's plenty. Here's the deal. Notice this. Miracles and Money is saying they are too exhausted to enjoy the experience, okay? Maybe ease up a little bit on the exhaustion from work. But notice how, this is the deal. I am a life coach. I'm not a robot coach. And I am not somebody that would expect you ever to act like a machine and a robot. You are a human being. Every day, your energy level will be different. Every day, your motivation, your schedule, everything is different every day. It's not like a machine that puts out the same widgets. No. But what I say to you is pay attention and embrace your humanity and create a pace of work and life that matches your energy. But if you consistently don't have energy or motivation to do the things you know that would make your life better, get curious about what is taking your energy. To me, there's nothing more important than your life and your life being the way you want, because when your life is the way you want it, you will most likely have more energy. You'll have more space in your schedule and in your home to do the things you want to do. So notice what is stealing your energy from you. Kind of stop that. And let's get some of that energy back so you can work on you. Okay? Notice that. Emily is saying, I am looking to my uncluttered dining table for 2 days. Feels so good. As I like to say, cue the Chuck Mangione. Ba, 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 da. It feels so good. Notice it looks good. Yeah, it looks good. When it feels good, it feels so much better. Looking is like from the neck up. It's brain, it's eyes, it's up here. That's good. Nothing wrong with that. But man, when it looks good and you kind of walk down the stairs to here and it feels good, that's a whole different ballgame. You know, I bet you've been to people's houses that look good on the surface, but you don't feel comfortable in them. that they don't feel good. They may feel stressed or uptight. If you go to try to open a door, they're like, no, don't do that, you know? Notice how things feel, okay? Pawpix 777 says, I have some stuff like a crocheted quilt that my grandmother made. It's heavy and I won't use it. What to do? See if somebody else in the family might want it. That's a thing. If nobody in the family wants it, is there somebody in your friend group or neighborhood or somebody else who might want it? Just because your grandmother made it doesn't mean you need to keep it. She would want you to keep it if it made you happy, but if it didn't, maybe there's somebody out there who loves a heavy crocheted quilt. You know? Find a way. And also, here's the thing too. Give yourself permission. Heck, I will give you permission. Here is a permission slip. You don't have to save everything that somebody else collected. And just because you loved the person, you don't have to love their stuff. And just because you don't love the stuff of the person doesn't mean you didn't love the person. Okay? Notice that. Green-eyed woman, Salisbury, Massachusetts. Get out of town. I saw that Salisbury Beach is going wicked nice. I used to go up there. I'm trying to think. Frolics. I remember got some snow domes in there. Too funny. You are our motivator. Yes, there we go. Okay, what else do we have? There we go. Give heirlooms to those who will cherish them more than you ever could. It's so true. It's so true. There are some things that are kind of heirlooms in my family that don't do it for me, but there are some certain things that I realized I did want. So you know what I did? I asked my mother. I said, hey, can I have some of these? I don't want to wait till you die. I did it actually over Thanksgiving. We weren't having Thanksgiving at my mom's house because she wasn't doing it. My sister was. My sister has her own like china set that she got when she was married. But my mother has the china that was my grandmother's on my dad's side. So I said, hey, we have people over our house every couple of months or so, and we have dinner and stuff, but I've got dinner plates. But you know what I don't have? I don't have some nice dessert plates. I just have like, not actually they're smaller, like a lunch, whatever plates. I'm getting too technical because I used to work in the dish biz. Regardless, I said, could I please have the dessert plates from Grammy's China? And my mother said, sure. So we used them at Thanksgiving. So there was kind of a neat kind of use in the family. And then they came home with me. And then when we have people over next week, when we have dessert, I will bring out those things and I will use them. And they will be like a nice kind of family thing. Okay. There we go. Oh, that's a cool idea. Miss Crentis is saying, I had a quilt my grand made that I picked a few squares out and had them framed and gifted to family. What a cool idea for that. See, this is great. Here's a funny thing. I am not a quilty or crafty person, but I have 2 quilts on our bed right now. One of them is my husband gave it to me when we were courting, and I had seen it literally like in a pawn shop in Dover, Delaware, and it's made up of all these cool old fabric scraps from like late 60s and early 70s fabric, with like psychedelic things and bell bottoms and don't pollute and, all trippy things like that. And I loved the fact that it was like a mishmash of like an old school craft and like that kind of psychedelic mod looking thing. And then I found a similar kind of quilt in like that polyester from the early 70s, like that double knit. God, I remember having pants like in grade school, that the waist went up to here, and somebody made it when we were on a road trip going from Austin, Texas, South by Southwest, coming home. And I found it, I think in like Arkansas, maybe. I digress. I digreg. But notice the things that light you up. I'm not typically a quilt person, but those things appealed to me. And they have good memories, and they are functional. They are on our bed now because it's freezing out. Okay? Notice that. Yeah, double knit. Ooh, no thanks. But yes, I don't like polyester either, you guys, for the most part. But man, the saturated colors you can get in those things. I just love those bright, cheery colors. As you can probably see, it's usually a little bit cheerier in here than the lights on. Or not the lights on, but when it's not pitch dark out. But notice the things that light you up. It doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. If it makes sense to you and if it feels good, if it lights up the green light in your heart. Speaking of being a child of the 70s and wearing polyester pants with, the thing up to here, God, I could probably sing the Zares theme song. Don't push me, I will, because I remember getting like a set, I had these really cool pants that had that like kind of bright pink that I still like. Crap, now where was I going with this? polyester. Oh, this is what I was going to say is, think about this. I don't know if you guys ever ever played this game as a child, but if you didn't, I'm going to tell you about it. We called it like red light, green light. When I picture myself being a child playing this, I'm on our neighbor's front lawn, and one person would stand over here and the rest of us would stand there, and the person who was like it or whatever would say like red light or green light, and then you would run, and then they would say red light and you would stop. And if you didn't stop, like you had to go back, and there was yellow light and you would say red light, green light. And so I bring that up to have you have fun. Play with your decluttering. Walk around your house today, in 29 minutes, and say, yes, exactly, Catherine, I love the little, what do you call it, emoji of the traffic signal. Yes, and Carol's saying fun game. So notice this and say to yourself, red light, green light, red light. What are the green light things that you can point to? Love it, love it, love it, love it, green light. And then what are the things that are kind of meh? That are kind of yellow light. Well, I mean, it works okay. I can kind of fit into it. It's fine. And then what are the red light things? The ones that you're like, man, I don't even want that anymore. I cannot even fit into those jeans. Notice how those things make you feel. Okay? Kara is saying, so funny, Kara Cargill. That is a tongue twister for my Boston accent. Kara Cargill. Kara Cargill. That's a good idea to do for my daughter. We're tackling her room this weekend. Even notice the words we use. I'm going to tackle it. Like it's a big thing I need to tackle, like football. How about we are going to play in her room? We are going to have fun going through her stuff. We are going to tell stories and remember when you fit in this and remember when we bought this, Miracles of Money, thank you for appreciating that I'm hosting at night, because typically I am better in the morning, but I endeavor to show up when people need me. So like, I don't even know, next week I know I've got some TikTok lives next week. I think they're all kind of morning-y. But the following weeks I am endeavoring to do at least one in the evening. Okay. So notice that. Oh, there you go. Okay, Kara. So you notice it's a challenge. It is overwhelming. Okay. But I don't know if you were in earlier. Overwhelm is the number one stopper of the decluttering and the stopper of pretty much everything. When it seems too big because it's too much, notice that clutter is that feeling of too much and you can't even just start it. Okay, so Kara, let me help you with this. When you say overwhelm, what I would love for you to think of is it has the word over in it. Think of it over. The opposite. I like to play with opposites. It's like being on Sesame Street or like Electric Company or something. What's the opposite? The way I coach, the opposite of over is down. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, I want you to think of the word down. And when you think of the word down, what I want you to think of is the way to overcome the overwhelm is to calm it down, is to slow down, is to breathe down, to focus down, to not look at all of it like this, like a fish with one eye going this way and one eye going that way, is to to focus down, to chunk it down, to write down the things you want to do with the stuff, to chunk it down, to set a timer, to say we're going to work in there for a half an hour, then we're going to take a break. Then we come back for half an hour, we take a break. There are ways that you can, when you notice your overwhelm is what's stopping you. That's a tool I just gave you to put in your toolkit in the trunk of your car so that when you feel overwhelmed, you can go and pull that out and say, now I know what to do when I am feeling overwhelmed. Okay? Kara says, yep, ADD and anxiety, hard to start somewhere, but notice. Thank you. Okay, so Kara just said, I'm bad at writing it down and setting a timer. You can get better at it. It's easy. Just try it. And I noticed the very next thing you say is, yes, I will try it. Because sometimes these things, we feel like they're not going to work. We hear the backseat drivers, that's not going to work. You're bad at that. You tried it before and you gave up. What's any different from to now? What I just want you to offer is just try it. Just experiment. Play with it. I know what I'm offering works. It does. I have a deluge of paying customers who say, yes, oh my God, this changed my life. I have the lived, breathed, awesome experience of my own life to know that this works. I would not be showing up doing this stuff in my pajamas, no makeup, and tired with probably kale in my teeth from dinner if I didn't truly believe what I am sharing with you would change your life for the better. And it's not wicked hard, all right? Get yourself a little workbook, and I say workbook because it works when you do the work in it. And the work is really good because what the work does is show you can do things. Yeah, you try it, you plan on it. Yes, okay, there we go. Kara, you're going to be, I love that you're being open and willing to try stuff. Everybody, that openness versus being shut down, the curiosity and the willingness to try to do something different to change your life is going to be the difference between whether you get the life you want or not. Okay? I love it. Yeah. Ms. Krentis says if you have a smartphone, you can literally tell it to set a timer and it will do it. Yeah, just remember to do it. Kara, do it now. Set yourself, here's a funny thing. You can set yourself an alarm to remind yourself to set the timer. Now, this timery thing, trust me, I got this from people that I've coached and I'm related to that struggle with ADHD and ADD. So this is something that is in the ADHD toolkit, but it works for all of us. Okay? Notice that. And notice this cool community that pops up whenever I do this TikTok live. It's not about me. It's about all y'all. Okay? We are all here helping everybody. You know, I don't have all of it worked out, but what I do, I want to share with you so you can, like, I'm just a slightly ahead of you on the road trip called life. But man, have I learned some stuff that I'm so excited about what a positive, awesome difference it means that I had to turn around and be like, you guys, oh my God, I've discovered some stuff. Let me share it with you so you can have it too. I'm not going to gatekeep because it doesn't make my life any better if I just have it. No, the sharing of it is awesome. Okay, so just notice this. What else can I tell you for a sec? I got distracted, as I am wont to do, because that's how my brain works. I guess the other thing too, here's a couple of things. So I was coaching today and I was doing consultations. I do one-on-one coaching. And if you're interested in that, you can sign up for a consultation on my website. I think I've got some consultation slots for next week. A couple of things to think about. One is that just have some fun with it. If it doesn't seem like fun, question why you're doing it. You know? Yeah, Pop Hicks is saying, I love your enthusiasm for this process. This enthusiasm, this kind of limitless well of enthusiasm that I currently have for this makes me know that it feels right for me to do this because I don't tire of talking about this because I know that it may be me every single day. I could be saying the same thing, but every time it's somebody different, or maybe it's the same person. And one day, it just clicks. It feels a little bit different. And you're like, you know what? Oh my God, I totally get it. Like, yes. And I don't want to give up on you. Don't give up on us, baby. And I know what a difference it made in my own life to hear somebody explain these, concepts, because it's technically like everything I'm telling you is nothing you haven't heard before in a different way, shape, or form. Kind of like, my husband is a musician. There's a finite number of notes there, but it's the way you put them together. It's the way you explain them. It's the stories you tell. And it made such a difference to me to hear somebody that I felt relatable to, that was cracking jokes, that was being snarky, that was doing pop culture references, that was pretty much just being herself, that I thought, wait, I can show up and just be myself and help people. I don't have to wear a tight suit and wear a headset and wear heels or be with these bro guys. Good, because I don't want to do that anyway. Okay? So notice that when I have enthusiasm for what I'm doing, I enjoy the process. You should have enthusiasm for your decluttering because when you declutter, you're learning more about yourself. You are learning who you are. You're remembering who you were back in the day when you collected these things and you say, okay, I liked that back then. Do I still like it now? Have I changed? It's okay if you change. You should be changing. We as humans, we evolve. I went to the doctor's today for my annual checkup. I am fine. You should go to the doctor too. Get yourself checked out just to make sure everything's good. Okay? And I said to her, yeah, I've gained weight. I am a woman of an age who went through COVID and then menopause, and weight has always been kind of a thing that I've struggled with, and I have beat myself up for decades. And I said to her, you know what? I'm just going to practice loving myself. And if loving myself and this self has another extra 5 pounds on it, oh well, I'm going to try that. Okay? So I don't even know why I got onto that, but it's a good thing. Just love yourself. Okay? All right. Now I'm going to just focus. Okay? Okay. Today I actually went to some places and offered some pictures. Had to be awesome. I just moved in. Declutter, I have things, but it has a place in the house. A friend confessed that she's deep in her hoarding. She's getting counseling and I want to support. Laura, that's awesome. But she says she can't do all the tips. I guess just need to stay positive. Meet people where they're at. It can feel overwhelming to change how you think and feel and act about your stuff. So any little bit, even if today I'm on for an hour and just one thing I mention sticks with you and you play with it and you roll it around in your head and you put it into action and you see how it is, you experiment with it, that is gold. It doesn't have to be all the things. Don't get overwhelmed. That's why I never like to make my coaching so fussy. That's why I don't have you buy a bunch of stuff. I say go to Staples, buy yourself a crappy notebook, a wicked cheap notebook that's lined and you can tear the pages out and you scribble in it. Keep it simple, silly, okay? And staying positive and loving your friend while she's going through this journey, giving your love to her while she's doing this. This is what I'm doing. I am sharing my heart with you because I know you can do it. Sharing your love for yourself, saying I am worth stopping what I'm doing that's not lighting me up and starting something that's going to be more aligned with who I am now and what I want my life to be. Okay? So notice that. Yeah, a little bit at a time. Catherine even says, you got this. We're all a bunch of Rosie the Riveters, okay? So notice that. Everybody, Kara, you're not the only one. Every little bit helps. I think that might be like one of the things I put on one of my new mugs for the new year. Every little bit helps. Every mile you drive on a road trip is a mile further away from what you were and closer to what you want to be. A mile, 10 miles, 50 miles. Every unit of measure starts with that one little smidge. So do a bunch of little smidges, okay? Bunch of little smidges add up. Think of pennies. How do you get to $1 million? Well, first you get some dollars and you get 1,000,000 of them. But how do you even get to $1? 100 pennies. Can you imagine how many pennies there are in $1 million? But they all start with that one little bit. Do not discount the little tiny things. The little tiny things are really what get you the big things. Yes, we can do it. Exactly. You know, every little bit helps. Okay. Danielle is saying, where do you start? I always offer this. This is what reminds me where you start is think of what I call my coaching, destination decluttered. Okay. Your destination. What do you want your home to look like? Write that down. The looking. How does it look? When it looks that way, how do you want to feel when you're in your home? Technically, that should be the first one, but we often just want it to look better. But when it looks better, you're going to feel better. How do you want to feel in your home? Here's a tip. Here's a tool you can use. When you can't articulate how you want to feel, how do you feel now that maybe isn't so good? Stressed, overwhelmed, discouraged, exhausted? Write down those words, then fold the paper in half and say, what's the opposite? What's the opposite of that unhelpful word? Maybe that will give you some insight in how you would rather feel in your home. And then how do you want your home to function? And that has a lot to do with just setting up your house so it works for you, your life, your age, your brain, how you work around your house. So it supports you living a life of ease. Okay? So just notice that. You start at the end. And then you say, okay, if that's what I want, what can I do today to get it to look just a little bit like that? I can get a sense of that. And I want to offer 3 levels of clutter. You've got surface, stored, and sentimental. Start with your surfaces, people. Get used to showing up and decluttering. Get the easy wins. Start with the things that don't give you that emotional connection that's going to drag you down and be like, let me tell you a story about where this thing came from. Oh my gosh, you're going to be stuck listening to those stories all night. Now, I'm not saying avoid doing the things that tell you the stories, but start with the surface clutter. Start with your habits that get you putting the stuff on the surfaces and forgetting to put it somewhere else. Okay? And then frickin' just start. It kind of doesn't matter where you start. Any starting is better than no starting at all. Okay? Kara's saying, doing a lot of decluttering in our house this year. Kara, then we're going to be BFFs because this is what I do all the time. I've got these TikTok lives, Destination Decluttered mailing list, destinationdecluttered.com/join. I do the coaching. All of these things are there to help you because many of us struggle with this. Okay? Timmy Smokey is saying, my brother hoards vehicles, maybe 5, not drivable or licensed. Any advice? Yeah. Ask him why. Anybody who hoards, any of us who save anything, we have a story in our head that makes us feel a certain way, that makes us hang on to something. What is his story? What did these cars make him feel? Maybe he feels like he wants to be the person that fixes them. Maybe he feels like he didn't have cars when he grew up, and now that these are his, like, what do I want to say, like his giant full-sized Matchbox collection. You know, everybody, every single one of us has thoughts about stuff that makes us feel feelings and do things about them. What I've just done, and I want to empower you to do, is to recognize that. So you sit there and then you say, okay, what do I think about this thing? What is this thing? You answer that. Do I want it or not? If I want it, where does it go? If I don't want it, where does it go? Right? And I wanted this. I got this on vacation. And I realized that I like to have a bigger mug, right? And I like maps. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to use it for my tea, but I use it for my what do you call it? My highlighters. Okay? So just notice, we're humans. Humans are freaking storytellers 24/7. Pay attention to the stories you tell yourself. And if they're not good stories, tell yourself better stories. And the better stories are going to make you feel better. And when you feel better, you're going to do better. And that transcends decluttering. It works with decluttering, and everything I teach is copy and pastable into other areas of your life. Okay? Just notice that. Okay? Yeah. My mother-in-law says everything needs a place. A home is in its home. Yeah. Because you know what? And here's the thing. It just makes it easier for you to find stuff. When you're saying, okay, if I were looking for a pair of scissors in my house, where would I look for pairs of scissors in my house? And then you put the scissors where you think you would look for them. Doesn't matter what anybody else says. Where would you look for the scissors in your home? And then make it a place that when you go to, after you use your scissors, you practice, you create the habit of putting them back in their little home. And then I go back to my house. Okay? All right. This is a good one. Let me, okay, we got like 12 more minutes. Mama Daniel 06, my senior adult parents will be downsizing. How do I help them with all their stuff? Everybody. With love and compassion and curiosity and love and more love and more love and patience and love and love and love. Both for you, for them, and you for you. Okay? Now the reason I say that is because your parents, your adult parents, if they're downsizing, they are of an age that they probably were directly or indirectly affected by the Great Depression in the United States in the 20s and 30s, of a place where it was important to hang on to stuff because you didn't have it. And at the time, the way that things were manufactured in this country, there was not the proliferation of so much stuff. So it is distinctly possible that your folks have way too much stuff. And if they're downsizing, they have to reduce the amount of items that they have. But that can be a struggle for people. You know it yourself. So show up and be patient with them and help them as best you can. It can be difficult when you know the stories and there can be, triggers and, frustrations. Can't you just, Notice that and walk away. I've helped my own family with decluttering, and I really have to know when I am getting to the end of my rope and not throw away somebody's shoe and get in wicked trouble for this. But that's a story for another time. Also have love for yourself when you're going through this process, because you are going to you will possibly be the recipient of a lot of these things. And what you want to do is say, what do I want my home to look like? What do I want my home to feel like? What do I want my home to function like? Do I want any of their stuff? Even if they offer it to me. You might be able to take it from them to just get it out of the way, but if you don't have to put it in your house. Okay? Yes. Okay, Mama Daniel's saying, yes, their stuff is so important to them. They grew up with very little. Yeah. And don't disrespect that. Like, the feeling of lack and not having enough can stay with you for your entire life if you're not aware of it and if you don't actively try to undo that feeling of scarcity that you've had perhaps all your life. My mom herself, both of my parents did not come from any money. And my dad did okay, and she is totally fine right now. She's more than fine. If you look at her bank statement, she's okay. But in her heart, she still is afraid that she doesn't have enough. And that's so heartbreaking to me. And that's one of the reasons I show up, to help you realize that it's not just about how it looks, but it's how it feels. And if you're feeling this lack and you're clinging on to stuff, but it's not adding any benefit to your life, notice that, and maybe you can think about these stories and slowly undo them so you can release the things you're clinging on to and then make space for what's really important. Okay? Yeah, see, user 5698. When growing up, I had nothing. I hold things because I'm afraid of being there again. Okay, notice the two things we just mentioned. A fear. Fear of being like that again. I never want to be without. I mean, wasn't it, what's her name? Scarlett O'Hara? I will never go hungry again, something, something, paraphrasing. You've got fear on the one hand, keeps you hanging on to stuff that you don't really want, but you're scared to let it go. Scared, fear over here. On the other hand, though, there is another side to that. On the other hand is love. Love for yourself. Trust that it won't be that way again. Doing the things. I mean, I'm not saying get rid of stuff if you're really not going to do it, but clutter isn't just enough. That's if you get rid of it, it's going down to lack. Clutter is too much. Clutter is, when you get rid of clutter, the end result is that just right feeling. Okay? Yeah, Irish Pink. I came from 3 families that lost their money in the stock market in 1929. Holy Moses. Yes, that directly affected them. And I'm sure when you grow up in those environments, you hear things. Little kids are like freaking sponges. Don't throw that away. That's good. We don't have enough money. We can't afford that. Don't do that. You might lose it. Here, I'm going to shove the cash in the mattress because I don't trust the banks. Notice those things. Okay? And do not discount that those things totally have a cause and effect in your life and in your life of your parents. So they may be open to changing. They may not be. So if they're not willing to change how you interpret and you react to how they are. Okay? It ain't easy, but it's not impossible. And it's worth it to feel better, okay, safe. It's all about regulating your nervous system, really. I don't want to get too life coachy, but when your nervous system is activated in fear, you're going to want to cling on to stuff. You're going to grab on. You're going to breathe lightly. You're going to be like, oh my God, I might lose that. I got to hold on to it. But the opposite, calming down your nervous system, allowing oxygen to flow to your extremities, to chill out, to calm down, to slow down, to, it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. I can let go of this random tea kettle and survive. If I need another tea kettle, if I need another place to boil water, I can boil water in the microwave. So notice those things. Yes, the fight or flight, it activates that primal deep thing. And if you don't realize how much that is running your life, this is what I say, okay? Think about this. You can have an idea of doing something. Oh, I'm going to do that. All I need to do is, and blah, blah, blah. And it sounds really good up here. It's a green light up here in your brain. But if you're not doing that thing, if you're not moving your body, if your hands are not picking up the items and doing the decluttering, that's because right here is where it all happens. This is the red light, green light. And if your head says green light, but your heart says red light, it ain't happening, because this is what's between your heart is what is between your head and your hands. Your hands are the things, your hands are the machine. Your hands don't make the decisions. The decisions come from here, but the thing that gives this project a red light or a green light is going to be your heart, your nervous system. If it doesn't feel safe, If it doesn't feel doable, if you feel overwhelmed, it's going to be a red light. And you're going to not know why I didn't do it, but I found myself doing something else. That's when you need to check in here. And this is where it's at. And this is changeable. This is changeable right here. It is. You can recognize what's happening here, get curious with love, and say, okay, let me just experiment with something different. Let me just try to experiment with, taking one mug out of my mug collection and giving it to the Goodwill. Low level, baby steps doesn't activate your nervous system. When you say, I got to do it all, whoa, it's going to go, How about just one? How about just 20 minutes? How about 5 minutes? 3 minutes. When I am on coaching calls with clients, I will often do this to remind you, try to do 10 mugs at a time. But if you can't do 10, do 5. And if you do 5 and it feels okay, then do another 5. That's still 10, but it's just another 5. It's a level that you aren't activating that freaking out of your nervous system. You're making yourself feel safe. This is okay. I'm just going to do another few. And then you will get to a point where it's like, no, I feel like I'm done. And then honor that. Congratulate yourself on what you did do. A Liz Lemon high five. Thank you, Tina Fey. And then realize that you just did something that you thought you couldn't do before. Julie Rose is saying, I've been chunking it down and making progress. Yay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Chunking it down into those small bits, Robin says, do I need to wrap up the mugs or other things before I pack them up for donation? If you don't want them to break, that might be a good idea. Yeah, but seriously, just get newspaper. I bet you get at least I do. We used to get back in the day when we used to get the newspaper, we would stack up the newspapers. We don't get the newspaper anymore, but you know what I get is I get these things from the grocery store, Boscov's, the color ads. I save those so then when I in a box in the basement, so when I have stuff to wrap up, I just wrap it with that. Okay? Yes, baby steps add up, you guys. Put one foot in front of the other. And soon you'll be walking across the floor. There you go. Kara's using grocery bags if I need to wrap mugs. Yeah. So just notice what you have. Use what you have and make it easy. Don't make things more difficult than they need to be. Keep it simple, silly. How can I get it out of here? And even let's say you have no paper, get a box, put your mugs on the bottom, and then put the clothing that you're going to be donating on the top of it, right? Yes, that is from a Christmas movie. I believe it wasn't Year Without a Santa Claus. It was the Kris Kringle one. Santa Claus is Coming to Town, the one with what's his name? Fred Astaire. I love him. Trust me, I'm a Gen Xer like nobody's business. I say if I don't watch it, if you actually put a filter on and you filtered out all of my Gen X pop culture references, I'd be very quiet. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Kara saying, my husband is the neat one and I'm messy, but trying to get out of it. Yeah, messy is a habit. Messy is a learned way of doing things. You can stop that and redirect. Yeah, go Gen X, exactly. Year Without a Santa Claus. I dreamed unhappy things. No, yeah, that was Heat Miser. Yes. Oh my God, so totally. And this is trust me, this is the time of the season, as the zombies would say, with Charlie Brown Christmas, with Rudolph. I have no dreams left to dream. That's what it's all about, Charlie Brown. This is where my pop culture brain goes on happy overdrive. Yes, this is how I crack myself up when I show up in real life and in coaching. Speaking of that, what I'm noticing, White Christmas. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Sisters, there were never two devoted sisters. Okay, I'm kidding. Now you've get into, next thing you know, it's going to be me and my primetime show with Joey Heatherton and the dancers, right? Anywho, all right, now I'm getting silly. I'm silly all the time, actually, and that's why I love to be silly in my coaching, but get stuff done too. Okay, when you are laughing, your brain opens up. It's like a sponge. Instead of being clamped down, you laugh and you can absorb things. Okay. Decluttering in Christmas. The reason I don't like Christmas is all the stuff. I hear you. I have decluttered so much of my Christmas stuff, but I have a few things that bring me joy. Notice if it stresses you out. Kitty K is saying it stresses me out. Then don't do what stresses you out. but notice what it is. Maybe it's the quantity. I don't want to convince you of anything, but notice what stresses you out. And oh my God, don't do what stresses you out. Yep, you clean better with friends. Kara, ADD, body doubling. I offer this to you to say it's 8 o'clock Eastern time now. I am signing off within the next minute or so because I want to go chill. It has been a long day and I'm going away for the weekend, so I have stuff to do. But I am saying this to you so you know that there is help there. So Kitty and Aurora and Carol and Kara and everybody who's listening, this TikTok Live and all the other ones I've done so far are going to be, well, all the other ones are already there on Destination Decluttered on YouTube. Tomorrow and the next day when I'm not around and I won't be doing any pop-ups because I'm going to be out of town, if you want somebody to hang out with when you are decluttering, go on to TikTok. Do a TikTok Live on YouTube. Pop one of those on. Put me on in the background. It might as well be live because you've never heard it before. And pretend that I'm there, just there chatting with you, keeping you company while you do this. I love to just give you that constant. I show up in the voice of your internal co-pilot. Here's how I want to leave with you. And I want you to think of this. You are at all times in the driver's seat of the car called your life. And your car in your life should always be pointing at and driving towards a life that you want and doing it on a road trip style, which means that you're enjoying the destination and the way of getting there, that you're enjoying what you're doing, that it seems fun and you're having a sense of what it feels like to be there before you even get there. It's like when you're sitting in the driveway and you know you're going to the beach and you're excited and you're not even at the beach yet, you're still in your driveway. You are in the driver's seat. You're not alone in your car though. You have two invisible passengers. You've got some backseat drivers that just want you to not go anywhere and to not change because they don't want you to basically get hurt. But they are those are the thoughts that you have in your brain that are telling you not to do the things that are different. However, there is also somebody else in your car. Now, you may not have heard from them because the little kids in the back seat are always chattering. You also have your own internal co-pilot. You're in the passenger seat. I show up as an external version of a voice that you have in you. And you have a voice in you that when you're able to quiet down the little kids, and trust me, it can happen, that your internal co-pilot is there to quietly, with confidence and 100% pure unadulterated love, say, where do you want to go? And then when you tell them that, they say, okay, let's do it. I know how to get you there. And that's when you get encouragement. I can do it. I feel encouraged, and you start doing the things. So just notice that. Notice that you are the driver and you're affected by the passengers in your car. Let's quiet down those backseat drivers and start listening to your co-pilot, okay? And that sounds like a pretty good way to wrap things up, huh? There's no business like show business. Anybody who wants to sign up on the mailing list, destinationdecluttered.com/join. I will be off the digital grid for the next few days, but I will show up. I will tell you this. Next week, Tuesday, December 5th, 11 a.m. Eastern is going to be my next TikTok Live. If you're on the email mailing list, you know that. I actually just told you that. Put it on your calendar. Set an alarm if you want to show up. If you can't remember that, remember when you go to follow my TikTok page, which would be awesome if you do. Also, if you know somebody who's struggling with clutter, get the word out. Tell them there's help out there. And then also there's that video that's posted, that's pinned to the top of my page that has the schedule for all of next week's TikTok Lives, okay? Thank you so much for keeping me company. I got through this. I'm going to go brush my teeth, and then I'm going to watch something crappy on the TV, all right? I'll see you. Bye.